Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to feel like somebody's listening to them.
If I had had a voice, it would definitely make me feel more human.
I mean, this is our system, right? And if we are living in it, we should be heard.
I felt like empowerment. He really made me feel like I was actually important.
I think youth voice is the core of the process. This case is about their life. That's the biggest thing going for them. And if they don't have a seat at the table, a voice at the table, what are we really doing? And so to me, it is all about them. And if it's about them, their voice is abundantly critical to the decision-making process.
It was very hard to say that there was a time that I could speak up about anything that involved where I was living, who I was going to be. Was I comfortable? Was I happy there? Did they treat me well? I don't feel like those questions were never asked to me. You know, and if they were, it was in an environment that I didn't feel comfortable really answering them. And whenever I was in court, I don't believe there was any time that I really got to speak up. I could literally remember the judge looking at me and asking questions to the person that was overseeing my case, I guess my caseworker or whatever, and never really asking me any questions, and like literally just like find a place for him. If he can't stay in Austin, move him to Land Passage, move him here, move him there.
It gives a person a feel of like, I don't care what happens tomorrow. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of kids get out of foster care and end up in this cycle of like introverted aloneness, and they're down in the dumps and don't want to do anything to better themselves, based on the fact that no one's ever taken an interest in whether they were making themselves better or not.
The movement to include the people most affected by decisions and services has been going on for quite a long time. There's something in the disability rights field called Nothing About Us Without Us. T-Noise has been one organization that's helped to move that to include youth voice, youth and peer support roles, things like that. The research on positive youth development, trauma-informed care, recovery and healing from trauma, resilience, and then models like peer support and restorative justice all have this one piece in common that's all about empowerment and voice and choice, and giving folks that have some control removed from them because they're in a difficult situation, giving them control back in their lives, giving them some ability to speak up for their own situation.
The first time I remember actually having a voice in foster care was whenever I was going to a different foster home, and I went to court. I actually got to stand up, and I got to talk directly to the judge, and the judge actually asked for like my opinion, how I felt about going to this place, and actually it felt kind of different, because before it was just like you're going there and that's it. This time the judge actually wanted to hear what I wanted to say. It made me feel important. It made me feel like I mattered at the time. You know, it made me feel like maybe things are different this time. Maybe things are changing. That's how it made me feel.
It's important for the youth to speak for themselves because they are growing up, and they do want us to show some sort of independence. And I believe that speaking up for yourself does show independence. And I believe that self-confidence, and just the ability to have your voice heard, because many of us don't have our voices heard, and many of us don't know what it feels like to have our voices heard.
In court, when I was able to use my voice, it made me feel as if like people were actually in tune to what I was saying, instead of just reading a piece of paper and actually getting a perspective of me from like afar, like just it's almost like a rumor. I told this person, they told that person, and by the time it gets to the person it needs to get to, it's all jumbled up, and people have the wrong perspective of a kid, and like every kid is bad. You know what I mean? That paper makes them look bad, but like at the same time, you haven't met this person. This person has a personality, goals, and wishes and dreams and things like that. So at the end of the day, when someone actually takes interest in what we're going through, it's very eye-opening and very, very exciting for us to actually be able to actually say something.
There are many reasons that children do not attend court, and they range from some people think it's not safe or it's traumatic. They may not have transportation, they're missing school, dockets are long, courtrooms are crowded, there may be no real great space for children to wait, so there are a variety of reasons.
It's kind of scary walking into a courtroom with nothing but adults. Like imagine being 15, 16, 17, even 18, I'm 18, walking into a room full of adults, you don't know what you're gonna say and you don't know how to say it. You're scared to put, like when you're telling your story, that's one thing. But when you're speaking to them, you have to make sure you're proper. You have to make sure you sound sophisticated. You have to make sure everything's going perfect, perfect, perfect. You rehearse the same thing 50 times in your head.
It can be very scary for them to talk in court. It's one of the reasons that in the beginning of the relationship, I work hard to encourage them to use their voice, not just with me, but with their teachers, their therapists, and with the judge. By practicing that in their everyday lives, I think they feel more comfortable when they do go into court.
When I'm speaking with them, I want to speak with them using open-ended questions. I don't want to direct their conversation with me. So I'll ask them things like, how are they feeling where they are placed? Has anything good happened to them this week? Tell me about what good things happened to you this week. Who in your family have you been able to visit with? Those types of questions.
Court hearings are an excused absence under the Texas Education Code. Child placing agencies are contractually obligated to provide transportation to court hearings for children. And for kids who can't attend in person, the Office of Court Administration has a secure video conferencing system that is free and available to any judge in the state, and it can be set up at the request of the caseworker or the child's lawyer or the judge, and it can be used with any end user device, including a smartphone or an iPhone. So there's really no barrier to a child attending a hearing.
By using the video conference resource, the judge benefits in that they can pick up more information, glean more information from the youth, not only by their words that they're sharing, but by their demeanor and their body language, which conveys a larger packet of information, if you will, for the judge to use in making decisions.
If a child cannot attend, I think an attorney can do a lot to counsel their client on what is going to happen at a hearing and what potentially could be the outcome. And then to always make sure that they understand what the child wants the judge to know, because that lawyer is going to speak on the child's behalf. And in Texas, lawyers are client directed. They are not best interest attorneys. And so it's critically important that the lawyer convey to the judge what the client's wishes are if the client cannot be in court to tell the judge in person. If the client is there, if the child can attend court, then the attorney can help make that easier by helping the child client understand how it might work, what it looks like, whether the judge would talk to them in person or whether they would talk to the judge in the chambers. So there are things that the attorney can do to make sure that being in court is not as stressful and that it is as useful and as beneficial as possible for everyone involved.
And I believe when they're well prepared about what to expect when they come to court, and when the child hears their lawyer advocate for them just as they instructed the lawyer to do, they have a great deal of confidence that this system is not secretive. They are doing and advocating for exactly what I asked them to advocate for. And then over time, they themselves find their own voice and some of that fear goes away.